Gentlemen, time is almost up. The season is coming to a close. Can you believe we are in the 10th week of this season? The end. The end. And what did this season bring to us? New battle passes. Well, sort of the same battle passes, but new skins. Well, old skins that were recolored. New runes. Sort of new runes, some new runes. But do not worry, because you know what's coming next? There is always, and I mean always, more to follow. So let's start getting very excited. Don't forget to grab yourself a drink, because we are going to be discussing what's next. What season comes next? And I have two ideas. Two fantastical ideas. So sit back, relax, and don't go anywhere. Okay. Maybe not the warships. I think a Tomahawk missile would probably be slightly overpowered, but then again, we do have YOLO Cavs and Mauls, so could be fair. But Britain, I think, would be a great season for CB. Just such a wide range of history. And now, when it comes to units, I'm not talking like we should have one specific little thing of British military history. I think we should just take from the entire range. I'm talking from when the Romans were here, we had Vikings here, to the Redcoats sort of thing. Obviously, we can have 3 units. They could probably add more, but we can have 3. So I've got 2 ideas for a tier 5 that I'm pretty sure I know which one they would go with, but hear me out. We'll go through what units I would like, and we'll start from the tier 5s, and then we'll go through down to the tier 3s. The first one would be, now this is unsurprising, there has been a missing longbow spot for too long. Our tier 5 longbows, English longbows, or Welsh. Welsh I hear were pretty damn good too, or even better than us. Anyway, British longbows, whatever you want to call them, we should have those tier 5 unit tree coming soon. And let's make that soon now. I would make this unit a smaller unit, maybe 10, 12 longbows. But these guys should have the slowest rate. Let's say they have the slowest rate of fire. I know that's not the case of the actual longbows. But let's make them slightly different. Because there are the Vasily longbowmen. And, they've got a relatively okay rate of fire. I'm talking let's have something different. Let's act like super long range. But it's like a sort of an optimal or a well-made siege ballista hitting into a group. That the effect, not the actual like the arc or anything of the bows, but just let's make them penetrate shields like a optimal or a well-made ballista does. But there's only like 10 of them, and they fire so slowly, and it's like and arcs really far, and if it hits a shield wall or something like that, it's got quite a hard hit to it. Something like that, maybe. They'd probably have to experiment with it, but I just don't think we need another one. We need something that does something different, and I imagine that would be pretty cool, especially if we make them like really sort of squishy. The other idea, if we're taking that off the table, the other idea I had with them, you have a normal stack, so maybe a 22, 24 stack of these English longbowmen, but the difference with these guys is you can press a button, and what they do is they take out stakes that they've cut sharp, and they pop them down in front of them. If any cav charge them or units charge them, they will take a lot of damage hitting these like handmade pikes, let's say, that the archers put down in front of them. Because there was a known thing at the Battle of Agincourt. The archers all took sticks and stuck them down in front of them, so nothing could charge them. So maybe you put that as an ability. They put down a thing. Obviously, it breaks after a certain thing, but yeah, that would be really cool. Little anti-cav keeps them safe from people trying to charge them and stuff. That would be a really nice one. So that's my first tier 5. My second tier 5 is slightly off the cuff, but I thought it would be really cool. Tier 5 cav, right? We all like, not another cav. This would be different. In British history, there is a lady called Boadicea or Boudica, however you want to do it. And she was a lady, she was a queen, and she used to ride chariots into battle. And from not historical facts, but she used to have swords off the side of her wheels. So when she went along, it would cut things up. So we should see if you guys could put in chariots. So like maybe a cav of 6, and these are like 2 horses and the chariot behind it. That would be cool. You've done camels. Can you do chariots? In fact, that could be quite a cool tier 4 potentially. But yeah, Boadicea, and we need another female unit. That'd be the 3rd female unit. That'd be great. So yes, Boadicea chariots. Nice. Now the tier 4 I was looking at would be Knights Templars. Knights Templars. So we're talking big, heavy armored guys with 2-handed swords. Think about claymores, but actually good. Like, not with claymores have that little button. Great, they get good, and then suddenly they get really sleepy and they all die. Not that. We're talking spinning, big Knights Templars. Smaller unit again, maybe like a 15, 16 stack, but big, heavy armored, big, swinging sword, 2-hand sword wielding Knights Templars, white robes, kind of like that unit attire that the old school guys have. Very nice. And now the last one. The last one would be quite an interesting one, but yeah, I mean, I've got 2 for the tier 3. First one is your kind of bog standard redcoat. Another musket unit. I know it's kind of would be a bit difficult because we've just had a musket unit, but it'd be really cool to have the redcoats in there. Maybe give them something unique that they do, unlike other muskets. Maybe, I don't know, they advance differently or do something. But yes, a tier 3 gun unit would be quite cool. I'm sure there'd be something interesting, and I'm sure people in the comments could come up with something quite interesting. A tier 3, so blue, gun unit could do a musket unit as a redcoat. I feel like I'm doing them hard by, like putting them as a tier 3. I'd ideally like those to be like a tier 4, but because we've just had a gun unit that's been slightly underwhelming, it could be quite interesting to have a tier 3 just to bring it back and see how it goes. The other one that I was thinking for a tier 3 that I think would be far more sort of useful would be the resupply. Now, I've discussed this with a few people over time on Templetart and Drayton's podcast. We discussed this. A resupply unit. So we've obviously got the healers, we've got the bagpipes for buffs. Let's have the resupply. Now, this wouldn't break the game, because the problem that everyone would have with this unit is that it could go on towers and resupply falconettis, and then they could always stay up top and basically never-endingly destroy towers. No. This unit would be dragging a cart behind it. This unit would move very, very slowly, and this unit would have to go and resupply itself. So, for example, the falconettis would have to go down the stairs to meet the resupply guy, who will resupply them, and then once he's out of resupply, he has to go back to the supply point, grab supplies, and then come back. So, and it can't go upstairs because it has a cart. So technically it's a cavalry. You class it as a cavalry. Not class as a cavalry, but you just use the AI of a cavalry, so it can't go up stairs. And yeah, so a little guy dragging a cart, can't attack, resupplies. And that would be my 3 units, or however many I did, 4 or 5, for the British season. There is so much you could do for this season. I would also like to see bosses. I would like to see a lot with this one. And this brings us into my second idea for a season that actually could coincide with this quite nicely, but let's cut it off as a different one. And let's get into my second choice. So, if you haven't guessed, pirates. Now, this has been thrown around a lot before, and, I'd love to see it as well. And I think there's a lot of good potential units and a lot of potential stuff you could do with pirates. I mean, of course, we have seasons where they don't really fall into, like, an era. We have, like, the one with the Outriders and the Axe Raiders, with the Shenjis, doesn't really fall into an era. So potentially this would kind of go in the same thing. But yeah, the units for pirates. I'm going to start with the tier 5 again. And now I only have one for the tier 5 on this that I think would be really cool. Okay, it's been a long time since we've had Flamers and Falconettis, that real specialist unit. And I think it's time we add another one like that. So what my idea was a sort of maybe a unit of 6 to 12, similar to Falconettis. I would probably think lower, maybe 8 to 6, because this will be super strong if it's done badly. But essentially, imagine Falconettis, but they fire grape shots. Okay, so these would be basically pirates gathered around little grape shot cannons. The ones that you see on the side of the ship that swivel, a lot smaller, but yes, and they'll have an ability that we'd give them called Clear the Decks, that they basically fire all these grape shots like in a volley, like bang, 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 bang down the line. I think this would be really cool to have one of these units again that, risk reward, expensive to use, but if it goes well, it goes really well, and if it goes badly, somebody kills them. They have no melee capability. You have to put them down. Basically, Falconettis, but grape shots. That I think would be really cool. I think a lot of people would be very keen for that, to see a very specialist unit come into the game again. I mean, it might be a nightmare, and I might regret saying that if it did come out. But yes, I think it would add some cool value to the pirate season. My next one would be the grenade throwers. Now, these guys would be kind of similar to like Jangjust in a way, where they've got their sword, they can still fight, but their main thing is lighting up steel balls of like grenades and throwing them. That I think would be a really fun tier 4 to have, something that's got kind of a lot of block break and can basically, just clear the decks. And I think not much more to be said. You've all seen them in movies if you've watched a lot of pirate movies, maybe. Round cannonball looking thing with a fuse in it, lighted up, and they just continue to throw. Similar to like a Shenji bomb in a way, but a bit more impactful potentially, or slightly different. Maybe shrapnel. Maybe it's a bleed. Maybe it's an explosion, but it leaves a along a bleed afterwards, or slows everyone. Something like that, I think would be cool. There's probably a bit more you can expand with the tier 4, to be honest. That would be quite a cool tier 3 to have, to kind of match up with the Zycalian Militia. But yeah, it could be an interesting one. That could be an interesting one. And then getting into the tier 3. The tier 3, I would just want something like a Buccaneer. Just slicing up, pistol in one hand, sword in the other hand. I think that would be a really nice, just tier 3, make it competitive in a way. But again, similar to Jang Just, it's got two styles it can do. Shoot its pistol and then charge in. Maybe it does like a charge where it shoots and then charges. Similar to like the Javelin Militia, how you charge them, they throw their jabs and then they run in. I think that'd be quite a nice little unit to have. But the main thing, if we had a pirate season that I would like, and speaking about the Buccaneer, would be a hero weapon. Pistol, sword. And I don't think it would be too difficult to do, because we've already got like pistol saber. Actually, it would be, I imagine, pistol saber. But I imagine you would just use some of the sort of stuff from Chain Dart, but then yeah, just incorporate that you can either just use your pistol if you want to go down your abilities and build just going pistols, and you got your sword still, but you're focusing more that, or you can go down focusing more on your sword, your saber. So yeah, I think that would be quite an interesting thing. There's a lot to go with the pirate one, and as well as a hero weapon and those units I said, I would like maps, naval maps, right? 2 ships. It doesn't even have to be like animated to being a moving ship or anything. You could do a cutscene where the 2 ships, 2 big galleons, 3 levels in the galleons, get locked together. And you could make this either just a 5v5 map, or you make them slightly bigger and you go for a 10v10 map where the 2 galleons are locked. There's planks in between them, and you put the capture points similar to field battle capture points, like where you got to take them and hold them, and you put them on both ships at different levels, and then you go in and take them and explore the ship round the back, round to the starboard and port side. And yeah, I think it would be really, really fun. And I think because Conqueror's Blade has cannons in it already, we have a lot of artillery. I think why couldn't we do this? Why couldn't we have pirates? We have muskets already. Like, it seems like a no-brainer. So yeah, those are my 2 choices. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm really interested to see what you think. I would love it to be England. I'd love it to be pirates. Not England, Britain in general. And I'd love it to be pirates. But hopefully, don't know any further. But this is just what I think, what I hope, and what I think. Bit of both. So, yeah. If you enjoyed this, I'd really appreciate the sub. And, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And I will see you in the next one.